Welcome back everyone, Andrew Moore here, and today we're talking about final inspections. As many of you know, I just purchased another investment property, and last Saturday I actually went and conducted my final inspection. I remember when I was selling homes as a real estate agent, so many people would show up to the final inspection and ask me, Andrew, what are we actually supposed to be checking? What are we doing here? So I thought I'd put together a quick little video that shows you exactly what you're supposed to be doing at your final inspection, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're not alone. Now, the biggest misconception most people have with a final inspection is they think that it is the time to point out everything that's wrong with the house and ask for that all to be fixed. In reality, unless you've purchased a brand new property that comes with a warranty, the reality is you've purchased the property in whatever condition it was in. So all you're doing at the final inspection is coming back to make sure that the property is in the same condition at the final inspection as when you purchased the property. So if the heating didn't work when you bought the property and all of a sudden you get to the final inspection and want to point out that the heating doesn't work and ask the owner to fix it, it's unfortunately too late for that. All you're doing is checking that it's in the same condition as when you bought it. However, there's still a lot of things that you need to check when you show up to your final inspection, and here's a few. Check that all the lights are working, that the hot water service works, the heating and cooling units are working. Check that the garage door opens with both the remote and the button on the wall. Something to keep in mind that is very important is to make sure that there is actually electricity and gas connected at your final inspection. In most sale contracts, the seller actually has a clause in the contract that says that they're not obligated to have electricity and gas connected at your final inspection. The reason for this is if they sell the property, then they don't have to keep paying for the connection for 2, 3, 4 months just so you can test it at the end of the process. What this means is you could potentially show up to your final inspection to find that there is no power or gas connected and you can't test anything that I've just mentioned. To prevent this from happening, give the real estate agent a call a few weeks prior to your final inspection and ask them whether the seller still has the electricity and gas connected. If they don't, simply get it connected in your name prior to your final inspection. So aside from testing things like the lights and the heating and making sure everything is working as per it was when you purchased it, something else that you want to do is make sure that the owner hasn't removed anything from the property that they weren't supposed to. Now, this is unfortunately one of the most common things, is a misunderstanding of what is a fixture and what is not a fixture. Unless specifically stated in the contract that they are removing something, the seller is supposed to leave everything that is considered a fixture and a fitting. The easiest way to describe this is if you were to flip the house upside down, everything that would fall out of the house goes with the seller and everything that would stay stays with you. Where people get confused with this is, let's use my mirror for example. It's hanging on hooks on the wall, so it's not technically fixed, but just sitting against the wall. That would technically go with the seller. However, if that mirror is actually fixed to the wall, then it should stay with the buyer. This often happens with washing machines and dryers. Sometimes they're fixed, sometimes they're not. Fridges that are plumbed in. I've even seen sellers try and remove air conditioning units off the wall. So it's important to know what's in the property, what's included, and then just make sure that it's there at the final inspection. Now, you may be wondering, when does the final inspection actually occur? Because the whole purpose of the final inspection is to check that the seller hasn't removed anything and that everything is still working as per when you purchased the property, you should conduct your final inspection about a week prior to settlement. Now, you may be thinking, why wouldn't I just do the final inspection the day before settlement? The reason is, if the seller has actually removed something that they're not supposed to, or something's not working, you need to give them time to fix that issue. Similarly to this fact, you don't want to do your final inspection a month prior, because a month is a lot of time for a seller to come in and remove something that they're not supposed to, and then you settle and find out that you don't have an air conditioner anymore. So there you have it, guys. Those were my tips for a successful final inspection. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more real estate content like this, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys on the next video.